So, hello everyone. My name is Annalise Shane, and I'm a technical field trainer with Vivotek. Today, we will be doing part two of the Vivotek tool series and concentrating on the Vivotek IP video design system or system design tool. With this tool, you can design your security system quickly and easily, find the optimal camera locations. You can quickly test different scenarios without installing any cameras and visually explain to your client the ideas and the reasoning behind your design. It's going to enable the system designer to calculate both the network bandwidth and the storage space for the project and includes a field of view calculator and a pixel density calculator. So in today's webinar, I'll go over some of the key features. I'll give you a basic overview of the tool and then I'll perform a live demo. If you have any questions at all, please shoot them over to trainingna@vivotech.com and stick around for the end where we'll be giving away a Yeti Rambler. So let's start off where you can find the IPVS design tool. You're first going to go to vivotech.com, then we're going to go to support, tools, and then click on the Vivotech, or excuse me, the IPVS design tool. Okay, so you can download and use this tool for free. There are paid versions of this tool, but the one provided through Vivotech is free. Now let's go over some of the key features of this incredible tool. You can increase efficiency of your security systems while lowering the costs and being able to find the best camera locations. You could calculate the precise camera lens focal length, viewing angles, and pixel density in seconds, and check identification, recognition, observation, detection, and monitoring zones for each camera on the site plan. Minimize your dead zones to increase the security level on the premises using either the 2D or the 3D modeling. Get estimations of required network bandwidth and calculate the required hard drive storage space for video archives. And then you can print or export your project to PDF. You can copy your calculations, drawings, and 3D mockups to either Word, Excel, Visio, or any other of those types of softwares to create a high quality project visualization. Okay, so after downloading and installing the tool, once you open it up, this is what you're going to see. Okay, it's going to start off in the camera installation and drawing tab. Let's blow this up a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. So right here, you can see the camera elevation view from the top. And then you can change the camera installation height just by grabbing this green square and dragging it up and down. You can change the distance of the target to the camera by adjusting this red square left and right. And then you can adjust the field of view width right here by moving these yellow squares. Okay, now let's take a look at the camera panel, which is located on the left side. Here we can change the installation height and specify the parameters by selecting or entering them. Select the camera model. You could change the aspect ratio if needed, the resolution, your lens focal length, and even the camera's tilt angle from here. All right, now let's move to the right-hand side, and this we're going to take a look at the field of view panel. So you can change the distance from the camera for the target, and this is where you could set the number of feet from the camera to the target. I'll come back here in a little bit to show you what these check boxes next to the people are for. Okay, and then target height is to set the maximal height of the target. So say if we're looking, our target is a person, then we'll set that target height at like 7 feet. And then if it's a fence, say we have a fence line that's 8 foot tall, then you can say, my target height is 8 foot or 9 foot, whatever you want to say. Okay, field of view width is to make the field of view narrower or wider. And then the last parameter is going to be the height of lower boundary. Right here, you could specify the zone elevation that's going to be starting from the floor up. So with this, you can cut out what you don't need to see. Underneath the field of view, we have the viewing angles panel. So this window here is going to be our camera's 3D view window. This is going to show what the camera's going to see. Here it shows two test targets, man in the background and a woman in the front. So these are going to show the range of the camera zone. Okay, so this right here is your camera zone. So the test man is located at the target distance. Okay, and then right here is going to be the blind spot or the dead zone, which is right under the camera, clearly marked in the window. And then the test woman is going to be located at the end of that dead zone and the beginning of the camera zone. Okay, so the woman is at the nearest point to the camera and the man is at the furthest. Okay, so do you remember the check boxes I was telling you we get back to? If you don't want to see these models, you can uncheck that or leave them checked. Or if you only want to see the furthest one away, that's fine as well. Uncheck her. Next, let's talk about the picture below the camera parameters on the left side with the man's face and license plates. Okay, so the quality of this photo is based on dividing the camera's horizontal resolution by the field of view width. Okay, so that's going to give us our pixel density. So the higher pixel density means higher quality picture. The pixel density for the target distance is shown here at the bottom. Okay. It has a test man picture next to it, letting you know which one it's talking about. The test woman picture over here tells you the pixel density for her. Okay, so here is how you can easily see if your camera choice and placement will provide you the adequate coverage if you have a job requiring a specific pixel density. Okay, so next I want to go over different camera zones. Okay, so right here in the red zone, this is for identification. So by identify, I mean you can identify a person beyond a reasonable doubt. Default for this one is going to be 76 pixels per foot. Okay, yellow is for recognition, meaning if you know that person, then you'll be able to recognize them in this area. Okay, default for that is 38 pixels per foot or PPF. And then the green is going to be your observation zone. So some of the characteristic details of the individual can be seen here. Default for that, 19 ppf. And then not shown here is going to be the blue zone, which is going to be for monitoring. You're not going to have much details in this zone. Default is 4 ppf. Okay, so this picture right here that you see, you can get to this by going to settings and then clicking on the visualization of camera zones. And then you can choose which ones you want visible. And then also you can change these values if you have different values that is necessary. And then also they have some that are pre-configured here. You could drop this down and this has the new France visualization type, and also DHS is in there as well. So if you want to use those pre-configured values, you can just drop that down. All right, so moving on to the next tab, we have the site plan. So here we can load our background images, and then also we can add cameras, add walls, doors, 3D objects, people, desks, chairs, cars, trees. I mean, you can get pretty detailed with this thing. Okay, so moving on to the next tools, over here we have the undo and redo. And then this stamp button or the stamp tool is going to replicate any previously selected object just by clicking your mouse. So if you turn this on, it stays on until you turn it off. And you can easily turn it off just by hitting escape or hitting your right clicking on your mouse. So I'll show you how easy it is to use that whenever we're doing walls later on. And then right here is to change the height or the elevation of your item above the floor. So that's here's where you can adjust that. So say I need to create a half wall, then I can change the height of that to only be whatever 5 feet or whatever I needed here. And finally, whenever you're designing a security system, network bandwidth requirements and storage space for archiving that video are two very important parameters. You can now calculate both of these parameters automatically just by going to the network bandwidth and disk space tab at the top. So in order to calculate both bandwidth and storage, you simply need to add camera types and specify a few parameters such as your resolution. So you can select the camera resolution by uh, drop from that drop down list, compression, like if you're going to be doing H.265 or H.264. The motion percentage is this level is a percentage of the motion activity. Okay, frame size. This is automatically configured based on the resolution and the compression, but in some special cases, you can measure your real frame size and specify it in this field. FPS or frames per second. You can select the frames per second for this for your cameras. Days is going to be the retention period, and it's calculated in hour or 24 hours for a day. Okay, so just this is required to for your storage space. For example, if you plan to store video recordings for a year, just go ahead and enter in 365 as in days. All right, cameras. This is going to be the number of cameras on your surveillance system that are going to be at this spec. And then recording percentage. So this is the percentage of operational hours within a 24-hour period. And this is going to give a measure of the estimated motion recording activity in a percentage. So for continuous recording, the value of this parameter should be 100%. Okay, so after all of these above parameters are entered into the system, at the bottom of the window, you can find the total bandwidth and disk space required for your entire video surveillance system. So in this example, it's showing that I need a little over 9 terabytes of storage, and I'm going to have 28 megabits per second in bandwidth. All right, so now that we're familiar with the controls, there are only 6 easy steps so that you can create your project. So first, we're going to start off with inside the site plan tab, okay? And then we're going to import our background image by clicking on this icon, or if we right click anywhere in this field, then it's going to give us this pop-up menu, and then we can select load background image here. Next step is to add a camera on the site plan. So either we can click up here on the add camera icon and then set it wherever we need, or if we right click anywhere in this field, then we can choose add camera from this pop-up menu. Step 3, let's select our camera model. So either we can select it from the drop-down list here, or we can show the entire camera list that's available to us by clicking on the 3 dots. Step 4, here's where we can make adjustments to the installation height, the focal length, and if needed, we can adjust the target distance from the camera to the target and then the height. And then step 5, um, we can adjust the camera location and the view angle. So all we have to do is click on the camera and then move it to the appropriate location. And then over here, we can adjust the focal length or the viewing angle. And then next, you can just add in your walls, chairs, or other objects if you want to get fancy with it. And then you can go to the 3D tab to see your simulated view. And finally, whenever you've put everything together, you can print out your project and bring it to your customers and visually explain to them your ideas and the reasoning behind your design and your choice of cameras. All right, let me go ahead and do a live view of the live demo of the IPVS design tools. So we'll go ahead and bring it up. So this is already started. All right, so this is the beginning of whenever you open it up, a fresh project. And then you'll notice over here that we start off in our camera installation drawing tab. And then, like I said before, you can see the camera's elevation view from the top. You can change the camera installation height by dragging this up and down. Okay, and then if I want to change the distance of the target, I can move this back and forth. And if I want to change my field of view width, I can move this around as well. Okay. The camera zones showing here is going to be red is for identification, yellow is for recognition, green is for the detection, blue is going to be for monitoring. If I want to see that um, the detection zones or visualization, then go to settings, camera zone visualization, and here I can remove or add on different values and then choose some that are already set up for us. So here's our DHS back from 2013, setting that up, and then the newest one is going to be the French standard. All right, so just leave this, what is that at, pixels per foot. Go ahead and close that out. All right, so on our left-hand side is going to be our camera panel. So here's where we could change the installation height. I can either drop it down or I can enter in the value manually. So whatever I need to do. And then here's where I could choose my models by doing the drop-down list. Or I can see all the cameras available to me by clicking on the three dots. And it'll give me all my cameras here. Okay, I can change the resolution. So say I choose a 5 megapixel camera and then I'm going to actually be recording in 4 megapixels. Then I can change that here. My focal length, I can move it. I can change it as needed here as well. Okay. If I want to manually change the target distance from the camera, I can change that here, right? So if I say furthest away somebody's going to be is going to be 20 feet, then I can change that there. 7 foot if it's a person, and then if you want to say you're looking at the top of a fence line, then you can change that to whatever you need here. And then the field of view width, you can change that as well. Here's your 3D view of what you're going to be looking at with that camera. Okay, we can either add cameras here. If you know exactly what kind of cameras you're going to be using, you can add it here at the very bottom. You have your plus and you have your minus sign to remove cameras as well. And then remember over here, this is going to be our quality or the pixel density of the picture. And then remember, pixel density is just calculated by dividing the horizontal resolution by the field of view width. Okay. Down here at the bottom is where we could see that pixel density of the target. So this is for the man and this is for the woman. All right, so let's go ahead and go into site plan. And then we are going to upload a plan. So we can either right click on the screen anywhere and then load background image, or I can come up here to this icon. Okay, so I have a couple that are already available. So we can do PNG, we could do JPEG and PDF. I believe there's a couple others that we can use, but these are like the most common that we'll have. So I have one already right here. So we'll go with coffee shop, bring that up. First thing it's going to ask you is to select 2 points on this image to scale the background. Okay, so let's go ahead and find 2 points. Basically, easiest thing to do is find a doorway, right? Because you know your doors pretty typically are going to be 3 foot. So let's pretend that's a door there. We'll change that to 3 foot. And then it'll scale your image as needed. All right, so in order to move around on this map, I can zoom in and out by scrolling on my mouse wheel. Okay, if I need to move this around, like you see it's not centered, go up here and use the grab tool or the drag tool. Click on that, and then I can move this around. All right, let's go back to our product selector tool. So now I can grab my camera, select that, and then go over here and choose which camera it's going to be. So let's say this one is going to be the FD9365. Okay, that's our 2 megapixel H.265 camera, and just for giggles, we're going to set it right there, and then we can move it around the viewing angle, move that around to wherever we need to go with it. Okay, you can change your focal length. Say we need to zoom in some more. We can move it to whatever we need to, that because it's a 4 to 9 millimeter focal length for this camera, and then leave the resolution at that. We're saying that our target distance, so the guy is going to be 16 feet away from the camera placement, and then down here is going to show me what that camera is going to look like. Okay. Now I can add more cameras easily just by clicking on the add a camera, place that in this corner. Let's zoom out a little bit so I can wiggle it around. Okay. So we can choose what type of camera this is. Let's go with one of the IB 9367. Okay. And then add your cameras as needed. Change the resolution if you need, do the distance from the camera. I can keep on adding cameras here. Okay. Once I'm done adding my cameras, I can add walls. So if I want to get fancy with this, I can add my walls and then just click and drag your points. And then remember the stamp tool I was telling you guys about? Really easy to draw your walls just by clicking on this stamp tool. And then we're going to go ahead and click where we want that. All right. And then we can keep on just clicking to go around. I apologize. And then now to get rid of this wall, because it's still going to stay on there, right? So I have to get rid of it. So either hit escape or right click and then you're done. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell you guys. So it's really easy to accidentally grab your map while you're trying to place your cameras anywhere. So if you right click on that map, you can lock it in place. So now you don't have to worry about accidentally grabbing that map and moving it and then all your cameras being in the wrong spot. Okay, I apologize. I forgot to tell you about that. All right, so let's move on. I can add desks, tables, cabinets. We can get pretty, detailed with this. So for this one, I'll just go with a table. We'll add that table over here. And then if I want to copy this and keep on adding it, I could do a Control C and then paste it and then drag it and paste another one. Or you could do this with the stamp tool as well, just whichever you're comfortable with. So let's go ahead and add a chair. All right, so if we zoom into this chair, we can see that I can face it whichever direction I need to. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and add a seating dude and then add him right there. Okay, so I'll just drag that back out. And then, I mean, we can add all kinds of stuff to this, like adding a car in the front parking lot, trees, adding more walls on the interior so we know what these cameras are going to capture and what they're not in that certain area. And then notice whatever camera you choose, your 3D camera view is going to change over here. To see a bigger view of this, this is where we go to 3D views. Okay, so just this is my second camera that I placed in the um, top right corner, I believe. And then this is my camera view for one that I place in the top left corner. All right, so once we're all done making this all pretty and adding all of our cameras, now we can go into network bandwidth and disk space, and then we can add the different types of cameras that we have. So say we have um, three 2 megapixel cameras, we're going to say that the compression is going to be H.265. Motion percentage, we can leave that at 50% motion, which is fine. Don't worry about the frame size unless it has to be specific. We'll change this to uh, 30 frames per second. We want to record for 30 days. We'll say that there are 3 of these cameras recording all the time, and then it will give us our calculation right here for disk space and bandwidth. And if you need to add different types, so say we have a 5 megapixel camera, just click that add new type. We'll choose the 5 megapixel cameras. So we'll say it is that one, and then make sure that you change your compression because it will change your calculations at the bottom. So we want this one at 30 frames per second, and we'll say we have 5 of those cameras recording all the time. And then here's your total calculations down here. So I need about 19 terabytes of storage, and then I'm going to have 58 megabits per second in bandwidth. All right, let me see if I can open up one of my already done files so you can see how detailed we can get on this. All right, so coffee shop, we can get in there, we can create all the interior walls, create our, if you notice here, we don't actually have any an option for like a curved desk or a curved table. So what I did right here is just created a curved wall, and then you can change the height. So I said this is gonna be a bar area, so just 2 foot tall bar area. It's pretty short, but you get it. And then we can add trees and bushes. I mean, we can get pretty detailed with this, right? So I can go in there and check out all my different camera views and show Mr. Customer exactly how this is going to look. And with this camera in this placement, I can see the cash register here, and then I can move around in the different zones. This one's looking straight at the door. I want to be able to make sure that I can see something and see this is a woman, not a man. And then I can keep on moving around to my different camera views. So this is my outdoor. This is the MS9321, so that I can have a nice 180-degree field of view for my parking lot, and keep on moving around with my different cameras, right? So whenever I'm done with this, I'm ready to print it out. All I have to do is go to File, Export to PDF, and then here I can add and remove different things that I wanted on printed onto the PDF. My format options, title page. This is how you can personalize this. So you can enter in the project title, create a subject for it, put your business name, and even upload your business logo on there. And if you want to add in a description, you can do that here as well. All right, so we'll go ahead and click OK, and it's going to start drawing out your PDF. Okay, let's go ahead and name it. So let's say test 4, and it's ready. So let me go ahead and open that, bring that over here, make it a little smaller. All right, so we got a cover page with our logo, our who the proposal is for, and then it's going to start off with the overview look of the entire picture, and then we go camera by camera. So camera 1, this is where it's located. This is what it looks like, and this is what kind of view you're going to get from this camera. Okay, you have some specifications down here, and we move to the next camera and keep on moving on to each camera and giving all the information that's necessary for that. Then here is your list. This is your product list, all the different cameras that you're using, installation height, resolutions, the focal length, sensor size, and then your pixels on target. This is going to give you your 3D views of your cameras. It's going to show you your pixel density picture here, and then give you all the information again. And then here's going to be where it shows you your network bandwidth and disk space. All right, so sometimes whenever you are opening and you're creating your projects and you have a lot of information on there, you don't have to show all of these layers, right? So this right here is going to be your layers. So these are the options that you have for layers. So we can move around some things that I don't have to show this in my 2D view. So if I don't want to see the zones, the camera zones, if I want to turn that off, I could shut that off there. I don't want the walls or the test objects to show up in my 2D view, I can turn those off. So it just depends. If you're using a computer that doesn't have the best of specs, you can turn off these layers so it doesn't have to do so much rendering and it won't slow down your program as much. So just forgot to mention that earlier. Wanted to give that information to you guys. All right, guys. So um, that is going to wrap up our demo on the IPVS design tool. Join us next week for our webinar on cybersecurity. And then to see a list and register for Vivotek's Insider webinars, please visit vivotek.com/VWA /insider webinars. If you guys missed a webinar or wanting to view the recording at a later time, you can find those recordings on our partner portal. All you have to do is log into vivotek.channeltivity.com, navigate to the training folder on the left-hand side. Then here in the folders is where you can find training videos, corporate videos, and webinars. And then now it's time for our giveaway. For this webinar, we are going to be giving away an exclusive Yeti Rambler to the winner. All you have to do is answer these two questions. Send in your answers with from a valid company email address, and we will email you back if you're the winner. So, question one: how much does the Vivotek IPVS design tool cost? And question two: what does dividing the camera's horizontal resolution by the field of view width equal? So send in your answers to trainingna@vivotek.com, and I'll email you back if you're the winner. Thank you guys for attending today's webinar. I hope to see you guys next week. Happy Halloween.